Okay. All right, it looks like it is time to start. And I'm going to start our recording. And just so everybody knows, we are also streaming live on the Get Set Up stream. So that means that other people are able to kind of preview the class and watch part of it without signing up. But we do encourage you to sign up for the class, and we can have much more interaction this way. So I'll invite everyone to have your cameras on if possible. Yeah, thank you so much, Harry. And our co-host from Get Set Up is Michael. He is here to assist you with any kind of Zoom or technical issues. You should be on, you want to put me on speaker view, which means you see my image large and everybody else small. If I'm in a little small box, you're not going to be able to follow me. That would be gallery view, and you need to change that on your end. So again, you want to be on speaker view. And we are recording. This is Get Moving with QiGong. It is April 13th. It is already the middle of April. And that is, I just can't believe how fast time is going. It just keeps going faster and faster. So welcome back to class. Some of you are become regulars here, and that's lovely to see. And for anybody that is new, it is fine to be in this class. I have two classes. One is the beginner's class, which is very, I spend more time on the theory and some basics about QiGong. And then this Get Moving class, you can come to either one. There really are multi-level for anyone that wants to practice with me. And what we're doing here in this class mainly is a series of movements. It's called Morning Medical QiGong, and it really can be practiced anytime. The name Morning Medical just refers to the time of day that my teacher used to practice this. But I personally think this is a lovely time of day, this late afternoon, early evening time, because it's naturally in the Chinese system, we have different organs are active at different times. Late afternoon is the kidney meridian, 3 to 5 p.m., and that's often when people have low energy. So it's really a great time to do QiGong so that you have gentle, balanced energy for the rest of your day. If you do it in the morning, it's a little bit more energizing just because of the time of day. But in any case, it's beneficial to practice anytime. What else do I want to say here? So again, we are being recorded. You can request the recording by emailing help@getsetup.io. You won't get it automatically. You do have to request it. You will get some notes that go after every QiGong class, including some other things you can check out for QiGong. And of course, you can always practice, come back to class here with me, or practice from the recording. So you have lots of options there for that. Okay, I will wait on some of these announcements for the end. So I want to just say a couple of preliminary things, and we'll stand up, we'll do some warm-ups, and then we will go into our morning medical series. And QiGong is based on, it's a branch of Chinese medicine, and it is based on Taoist philosophy, which has to do with the cycles of life. It's very connected to nature. So day and night, the cycles of the season, the growing cycle. And then we also have our own internal seasons. Sometimes they match the outside world, and sometimes we have our own internal season. But collectively, and where we are in the natural world is moving into spring. And that is associated with the liver meridian, liver and gallbladder, and with the energy of wood. So wood is new growth. It's like those seedlings that are starting to sprout, and the leaves that are appearing. So the wood element is all about, I want to grow, and I want to become the flower that I was meant to be. So some of us might be like big sunflowers, big and bright and, you know, like kind of showy. And others of us might be like little violets. We're all like a different kind of flower. But this wood energy that is starting to dominate, it says, I want to be me. I want to break out. I want to just kind of get some fresh air. It's often a time when people feel like a change. And of course, this year with what's happening with, you know, the whole pandemic thing and things finally starting to open up, there's even more, I think there's even more of that feeling of like, it can feel like impatience, like, let's get out there, let's get on with it. And yet we're still, you know, have to wear masks in a lot of places. And so anyway, I just thought I would talk a little bit about this energy. When we practice the QiGong, I will talk to you more there's a form that, like one of the QiGong movements is called silk reeling, and it's for the liver. So I'll talk more about that. So Chinese medicine is like very different than Western medicine in a lot of ways, and it has the emotions tied into it. So the liver energy, when it's in a positive, balanced place, is about hope, new beginnings, a sense of possibility, growth. When it's out of balance or it's depleted, then that's can lead to anger, irritability, or the opposite, where we kind of get depressed and hopeless. So you can see why it's really important to balance your wood energy. Yeah, let's see. I'm just going to read this from somebody who did a lot of research and put it together in a nice way. The liver relates to emotions, and it is responsible for spreading the flow of qi in the body. It also controls the sinews, which is like the ligaments and tendons, and muscle tone. Liver stagnation, when it's stuck or when it's too active, can lead to extreme emotional states. So the liver forms can transform repressed emotions into a true emotion. So anger is not bad in itself if it can just move through in a healthy way, be expressed and acknowledged. But a lot of times it doesn't, and then it just creates more problems. So I'm not going to read, there's a whole bunch of things here about some symptoms, but I'll just say again, depression, anger, irritability, moodiness, poor or blurred vision. So the liver governs the eyes too. And any kind of reactions to like greasy foods or issues with digesting fat, they can all be related to liver imbalances. So in the morning medical series that I'm going to teach you, we do a Qigong movements for all of the 10 organs in the Zongfu system. And we only do one for the liver, but I thought we'd start with an additional liver form just to kind of get that flowing. And then we'll go into the morning medical. And before that, we're going to just do a few warm-ups here. So let me just change my camera, come up to standing. Okay, so since we've been talking about wood and liver, that a lot of that is about flexibility, like new growth is flexible. You know, a tree that's very old is just, it kind of gets rigid. So we want to bring fresh newness and flow. So let's just do some flowing movements first. So we're just going to sway like that. Just to kind of warm up the body in a flowing way. See if you can get your hands into it. Yeah, good. And let's do the similar movement with our feet and our legs. So first, let's just warm up the ankles. So let's see if I get the camera back a little more. Should do it. Okay, yeah, you can really see my feet now. So I'm just lifting my right heel up. I'm standing, rooting into this foot, and I'm just circling a few times in one direction and then the other. And see how I'm just kind of leaning on the ball of my foot there. Okay, and let's see if we can go a little bigger with this. This is going to be a little bit of a balance challenge. So if you need it, you can always have a chair handy to lean on, or if you're by like a top of a kitchen counter or railing, I can't really reach it, but you know, I have a ledge up here. So I could be like, see if I'm still on camera here. So I could just lean like that. But then you wouldn't be able to see me, so that's not a good idea. Okay, so here, just with a little support, now I'm going to go a little bit bigger, just kind of in a flowing movement, going the other way. All right, and then I'm going to switch my support to the other side. If your balance is good and you want to try a challenge, just do it free like that. But for anybody else, I'm going to experiment. Not too bad. Good. And we always do warm-ups to open up the joint. So let's just turn the wrists and the hands. We'll get elbows, open them up. And some shoulder lifts. So inhale, lift the shoulders. Exhale, let them go. And this time we'll lift the shoulders and tuck the chin up like that. So inhale, everything kind of contracts and hunches up, and then exhale, and the chin comes down. Another time. Good. And let's do a little bit of eye massage. The liver and the wood are connected to the eyes. Rub your hands together, get them warm. Cover your eyes with your hands. Just let the eyes relax. One more time. Good, and I'm going to show you something to do for releasing any kind of stuck anger or frustration. And when you do this, this is a kind of release. And you would never want to do this like towards somebody's face, because it's like getting all your anger out, like, you know. So we don't want to direct it right at somebody when we're in the height of it. So it's just an opportunity to let go. So let me show you one. So I'm just going to take in a breath. And then I'm going to exhale like that with a sound. And any anger that's stuck in my head or anywhere else, I just have the intention that I'm like sending it out through my eyes. So I'm not even going to look directly at you guys because I'm not angry at you. I don't want to send you anger. Okay, so I'm taking a breath. So go ahead and try it. Nobody can hear you. Just an opportunity to just let go of any anger or frustration about life or the people you live with or anything at all. So taking a breath, we'll bring our hands back like that and then exhale with like a hissing snake. All right. So hopefully that was therapeutic for you. I think those kinds of things are like, you know, you can release stuck energy in a few minutes, or you could spend hours talking about it with your friend or your therapist. And again, I'm not against therapy or talking to friends, but it's really handy to be able to let go of things, I think. All right, so let's just do another, let me sit so you can see this one. So I'm going to take this hand, and now I've got this other hand is kind of wrapping around the back of this hand. This is my right hand. And I'm gently pulling down as I twist the hand. Let me come closer so you can really see what I'm doing. So this hand comes behind and pulling down like that. And see how the wrist is starting to flex? You do 3 of those. 2, and be gentle on those wrists. 3. And on the same hand, now I'm going to go the other way. So now I'm pressing the palm down towards the earth, flexing up. 2 and 3. And then we'll do the other hand. So reaching up with my left, pulling down 3 times. Other way. And let me slow it down because these are a little bit tricky when you're just learning them. After you know them, they're pretty simple, but they're kind of unusual. And then we'll do this. And now I have my right hand over the top of my left. See how my palm is out? I stretch my arms out and I draw this back towards my heart. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm pressing on the back of my right hand with my left, and see how my hand is kind of turned in. Good. And then we bring that back again to the heart and shake it all out. Yeah. What else can we do here? Oh, okay. So let's go into a liver form. It's not part of the Morning Medical series, but it's a really nice standalone QiGong form. This is called Shamanic liver fist. And a liver fist is like that. So it's not super tight, but it's, pretty a fist. And here's what we do. So just watch the first one. So I come up like that, like up through the body, actually with a little wider stance. So like that, like I'm breaking through something. I turn the hand around like that. And now this hand comes up. Oh, I'm sorry, I showed it to you wrong. Let's start again. Okay, so liver fist. And this energy is about breaking through fear and breaking through stuckness. So we come around like that. We come around like that. And we come back down like that. Across the body. Yeah, I'm just reviewing this myself. So it comes like that. And then back around, back to the starting place. Then this hand breaking through and coming back. So let's do some of those and see if you can feel this energy. This is like the energy of the calm but strong warrior, right? Okay, so bend the knees a little bit. Here we go. Right hand, like an uppercut across the body, and then we back around. Other hand comes up and across, and back to the starting place. Let's do several more. So the fist comes all the way across the body and back, and it faces the front when it's here. And come back down, across, and back. One more set. Yeah. Whew. Here we go. Finding our courage, breaking through fear. All right, good. Let that go. Let's just do, we didn't really warm up our knees, and that's important. So let's do a quick knee warm up. Just rub your hands together. reaching down and just rubbing up and down on your knees, behind, all around. Get them nice and warm. And if this is difficult, you can always just sit and do it like that. That's fine. All right. Let's move into our morning medical practice. So for those who've been coming to class, you'll probably recognize some or most of this. And for anyone else, it will get familiar to you as you come to class more. Okay, so we start with our feet about hip width apart, maybe a little wider. Feet are parallel. And then if you need to keep, you want to keep your knees in alignment so they come over your feet. And if you're studying me closely, you'll see I sometimes forget myself. Then my knees go like that, and that's not good. So you want to have like the thighs are slightly turned out like that. And if you want to turn your feet out, here's parallel and here's slightly turned out. That's fine. Whatever you need for your alignment. Okay, so just bending the knees here and let your arms billow out on the wind. Circle around like you're hugging a tree. Taking a breath. Exhale and lower your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. Notice if your feet are gripping or they feel strange. See if you can relax your feet and spread your toes out on the floor. So you have a good stable base. Breathing. And we are doing the preliminary stance, which is called standing at stake. This is a standing meditation. This builds a lot of chi in the body, a lot of vital force. And just doing this, if you did this and built up to minutes or hours of this, you'd have a very powerful QiGong practice. That's just the beginning here for us. So now the hands are going to just lightly float down. And here I'm drawing up, like I'm pulling up a thread between my thumb and middle finger. Up to here. Let it go. Once more. Lifting a little higher. Third time, come up a little further. And now the hands gently move out across the surface, like the surface of the water, or there's like along a tabletop or a countertop. And we're moving in a flat way across the surface here. And we keep going and we add the legs. So they sink down as the hands move out, and my legs rise as the hands gather back in. And I'm sorry I didn't say this, but if your legs are weak or you're finding this difficult or hard on your back, anything like that, or you have an injury that you're recovering from in your lower body, you can practice this in a chair. And I'll show you that in a second. Pretty much the same thing, only, you don't go up and down on your legs when you're in a chair. So calm the waters. It's the name of this form. This is for the kidneys. And this is for releasing stress and cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And this is a communication to our bodies, and especially to the water in our bodies. We're 70 to 80% water, even though we seem very solid. Then it's saying, it's okay. You can calm yourself here. If you've been agitated or a restless mind or in fear or anything like that, this form says, just like you might comfort a child with a shh It's okay. It's all right. So everyone who's standing, just come to Dantian settling here, so left and then right. And I'll just show you the same thing in the chair. And it's really not going to look very different, but this is also to encourage you to use a chair if you need to. It's not less than if you need to practice in a chair. So here's what it would look like, right? So I just come out and back. And I can imagine my legs moving for a little extra effect. And let me show everybody from here. We'll go transition into the next form. So from here, hands come up slightly. They come down. My right is always underneath on all these forms. Crossed here at the wrist. I come to here. And now I'm in my next form, the beginning of the next form. Crossing, and the hands now come to rest on the chest. And your fingertip, your longest finger, will be either like up here, or it might land depending on the length of your arms and your torso, or it might be lower here. So this point is lung 1, this is lung 2, and either one is good. And to start this next form, which is for the lungs, we just give a little acupressure, pressing into those points. And we just do that one time. And now inhale, exhale, hands open. Another inhale, and we continue, we stay in the flow. Another exhale over your head. And the hands return back to here. Let's do one more and then I'll finish. I'll continue this same form from standing. So inhale, exhale, shining, opening your heart, shining your light out into the world. And now we come back home. We close the curtains on the day and we come back inside ourselves. So I'm going to just stay like this. Okay. And one of the things that maybe some people may have noticed and some of you may not have is that in this particular style of QiGong, we try and maintain a continuous flow, even though right now I'm stopping to teach you. So we have smooth transitions from each form to the next. Okay, so we're still in the opening the lungs form here. And take an inhale. And see, now that I'm standing, I can bend my knees a little bit, not a big lean, but just a little bit. Open the hands. Exhaling. And then again, crossing there. Come back. And since we're working with the lungs, there's an emphasis on taking this big breath right here. So really filling your lungs with life force. Yeah. Exhaling, and you can take another inhale here. And exhaling. Inhale, and the inhale is like saying, I'm choosing life. I am still here. I am alive. This is me. And then you take all that beautiful heart energy and you nurture it. You bring it back to yourself to nurture yourself. Let's do one more. Okay, on this one, we'll do almost the full form, but at the end, to transition to the next form, we'll come to here. But let's just do the same thing we've been doing. Full inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And now the hands come to rest on the collarbone. They're not crossing like that at the last one. Okay, let's continue. And we're going to move into our third form in this series. And this is called Destiny Bridge. So if you feel familiar enough, you can just follow me. If you just want to watch me do it once, that's fine, and then join in. So I bend the knees, coming down. My elbows are winging back behind the body, kind of like, it really feels like wings opening up. They come forward. Notice where my fingertips are still on my body, and now everything extends out. The hands are together. And finally, I open the hands. Okay, so now I'm in the Destiny Bridge position, and my arms are like this bridge reaching out towards the horizon, towards the future. And then I turn the hands and welcome whatever is coming my way. So this is a very beautiful form from, the way I see it, of grounded courage. So we let ourselves sink down to the earth to gather our strength. Our elbows wing back behind us like powerful birds. And then we reach with this calmness. The gaze is looking straight ahead. The shoulders are down. And yeah, so here we are in Destiny Bridge. And this may feel a little odd because we don't usually move our shoulders this way. So I don't know if you can feel this form, but it's like slow, contained power. And here my eyes are following my hands. Let me show you that from seated. So I'm kind of like following with my eyes, and then everything comes back. So you may have noticed in these forms that a lot of them have this pattern of going out and coming back. And that's about the yang, which is expansive, and the yin, which is more inward and contracting. Okay, so let's continue. So we ground down, there's yin power, and then the yang reaches out, cuts through illusion, and says, here I am, baby, meeting my life. And there's a lot of details in these forms, and I know these are mostly pretty new to you. So you do what you can, but I'll just teach another detail, which is about the legs. So I bend the knees to start. I stay like that here, and I tend to come up at this point and back to here. Okay, and I'll show you, you can stay standing, and again, I'll show it to you in the chair. And I sit a little forward in the chair, so I'm not like back here. And it also gives me room for my elbows behind me. Like that. And my eyes follow my hands as I trace the journey back to myself. Inhaling, rowing those arms around, extending, opening, looking out in front of you. And this part of the form says, I accept. I'm here, I am meeting whatever is really showing up in my life. So this form is for the spleen, and that is about absorption, assimilation. It's also about nurturing potentials. Let's do one more. Let the hands come back to here. Good. All right. And we'll go into our next form. And again, you can remain standing. I'll show you this, how this one starts from seated. So I'm just going to go back and forth between seated and up and down. And you can try that with me, or you can just stay either way, in the chair or standing, as you like. Okay, so here, this is where we finished the last one. And this one begins very similar. Let me go here. See me a little better with the contrast, I think. Okay. So we're here, and we start really the same. It's a different form, but parts of it are similar. So we are doing that. The only difference is that in Destiny Bridge, which we just did, you're like this. In this form, the 5 elements form, it's the same movement, but we open the throat a little bit more like that. We come forward, looking the same as what we just did. And here, the fingertips turn, and like there's a magnet on each fingertip. It's coming down the body, and it's drawing in towards my pelvic area. So let me show you this now from standing. Okay, so the transition from Destiny Bridge, we were here. We come back, I open the throat a little more. I'm not like crazy like that, just a little more. And again, reaching forward. And here, fingertips draw down the body. And now they're practically against my body here. I take an inhale, I lift up. This is called great wings. You can see it looks like I'm about to take off, right? But I don't. Instead, I gather the chi, and it's like I'm pressing it down, like pressing dough or pressing clay. That's the feeling. I press it back down into a container here, and then I release. Show you that. So I put my thumb against my index finger. So the thumb is on the outside, and I turn. So I'm turning again, opening the throat, and there's this feeling of just opening to life. It's a little more expansive than the previous form. And I'm gathering back my prenatal chi, also called my Jing or my vital essence. I'm retrieving it back to myself. And then I'm lifting it up through the whole body with an inhale. And you can feel, right? It looks like I'm about to take off, but no. So here, it's very obvious in this form, we're practicing the art of cultivating the chi. Here we're cultivating. And now we're conserving, or we're restoring the chi back to ourselves. So we lift. And this might help you understand this analogy of what does it mean to conserve and restore. So like when a farmer plants crops, and eventually the soil gets depleted, so then he has to rotate what he's planting, he or she. And that's so that you don't use up all of particular minerals, and you vary your input into the field. So in the same way, we don't want to just use up our chi and never replenish it. So we lift it up and we replenish. We move it through the body in expression. Once more, gathering back. And we draw it back to here. And this whole area is our procreative area. So it's where our life began, we could say. And so we draw the energy back to here. Okay, lifting up with me. Inhale. And we never go past the shoulders. Exhaling. Turning the hands. Again, that feeling of, whoa, I'm really expanding myself. I'm reaching out, and now I reclaim all of that beautiful energy, power, strength, life force. I fuel my body, and I replenish, I recycle. Another detail I haven't said too much about is that when you practice, if you can put your tongue, the tip of your tongue behind the roof of your mouth, just as a practice, which you might forget, but when you think of it, especially in this form, and this also helps with the building of the chi. I can't really do that because I'm talking, but you can do that. So just the tongue lightly resting, it's not a big deal, it's just like a kind of closing of that circuit. Inhale. And this is the point in the practice where you might start to really feel more chi building. For most people, that's warmth or tingling, or just a sense of energy. And if you don't feel it yet, that's okay. We all vary in how sensitive we are. And if you're very new, it's just going to take a while to get that. Good. Okay, so now we'll transition into our next form. So we're just doing what we've been doing. Hands come to here. And now, see what happens. I don't go into the great wings. I lift my arms. But from here, I bring them down. Again, right is on the outside further from my body, and I come up to here. So my right hand is just covering my left, and I bring the tips of my fingers up to my eyes, and then I open. That's the transition, that's called arrow hands. And now I come down, and again, this familiar, it should be pretty familiar now, the way my hands are crossed. But now I'm going to keep going past my face and sitting to demonstrate. Hands come up overhead, the left just slides underneath. The hands open, face the front, and we come back down. I'll show you another one from seated, like that. So what we're doing here is we're lifting up, healing earth energy, mothering, nurturing energy, lifting it up through the body and letting that beautiful nurturing energy rain down on yourself for a second. And then the whole body starts to sink down towards the earth. And I'll continue and show you this from standing up. So we keep going like that, and you can go, well, I need to sit for you. You can be like this, that's fine. If your shoulders are tight, you can be down here. If you're more open and you want to try it, you can go higher. or even up here, but you're not like all the way up like that. You never straighten the arms completely. And you open the hands. Let's do a few more. So I call this the compassion form or the nurturance form. And there's just a feeling of tenderness and care here. So to me, this has the qualities of mothering, or could be fathering too. And of course, anyone can have mother energy, men and women, but that's the feeling. Like imagine you were holding a baby, right? You'd be holding it so tenderly. Of course, you wouldn't be lifting it up above your head. That would not be a good idea. And then from here, the knees bend, and we feel this sense of being called back into another cycle of taking care of something. Maybe it's just your daily tasks, or a garden, or your cat or dog, or a friend. And when we come all the way up to the top, again, I'll sit just to demonstrate. See how we do this, and then we open up? This is like letting go. So no matter how much we love someone, our partner, a child, a pet, this is like saying, I do everything I can to be there and to be supportive and loving. And then I have to let go and trust that this other person or being or situation is going to be okay. It's like I do what I can do. And this is like the Serenity Prayer. And there's a place where I have to let something else besides me do some of it. So this is also like letting go here, right? So you can think of this even as like, okay, here's the infant, and the child is growing, and it reaches a point. Maybe these are like the teenage years, and then finally you have to let the child go free, have its own life. Of course, anyone who's a parent knows that it's not over. But I think you know what I'm talking about, this feeling here. Or even a friend or your partner that you're trying to help. It's like, here, I can offer my love and my care. And now I release and I bless you to also take care of yourself. Let's do one more. Just do it quietly. We'll come into arrow hands again, like that. Just stay there for a second. Just checking time. Okay. Okay, so because I'm doing a lot more teaching, we're not going to be able to do all of the 10 forms today. We will get there eventually. But since I was talking about the liver form, let's go to that. So we're going to skip a few of the forms in the series. And let's go into silk reeling. I think that will be a good place to go. So bring your left hand like that. Bring your right hand overhead. Again, I'll show this to start with in the chair. Okay, so my left hand is here, my right hand is overhead. I'm going to take an inhale. And as I exhale now, Notice my fingertips are starting to come together like that. And then there's a little bit of a turning inward. And then reverse that turn. The lower hand stays right where it is as the upper hand draws the chi up. Notice how my wrist is bent. I open and I come around. So now I've got my right hand below, my left hand above. Deep inhale, stretch. Silk wheeling. It's the name of this form for the liver. So this lower hand is the root, and we could say there's a seed here. Remember I was talking about the spring. So here's the seed is in this lower hand, and there's roots growing down into the earth. And now as the sunlight warms the soil and the plant feels the energy of spring, it starts breaking, it starts growing up away from the seed through the soil, breaks the surface of the soil, and here's like that first leaf unfurling. And of course, some of the movements are not literally what a plant would do, but I think you get the idea. Take an inhale, and we're kind of like running the film backwards. So now we condense all that growth back into a little seed. And now once more, the seed starts to grow, and the right hand is drawing that life force up through the body and out towards the sun. I didn't really mention that, the liver is, of course, the biggest organ of detoxification in the body. Well, the liver and the skin. So this is also a detox form. Letting go of toxins. Turning in. Let's see if you can feel, like it feels a little more expansive to me than some of the earlier forms. And here, this part is what we move into the next form. We do a lot of this wheeling around, turning this big circle. So let's do that here. So now there's no like that, right? My hands are just flat. And I'm just turning. Like I have a ball between my hands, and this represents, it's called turning the Tai Chi Ball. So this is a ball of chi. All the chi that we've been cultivating, all this life force energy. And feel the ball getting bigger. And we're just playing with it. We're just turning it side to side. Go a little bit bigger. This is the final form in the series for the heart. And there's this feeling of just like playfulness and expansion. And that's all about the energy of the heart and courage and taking risks. Okay, let's start to condense the ball so it's getting smaller. So we keep turning. Now I'm going to press my left on my right, turn it over. I've got all the chi, like that ball is now like a seed inside my hand. And just for fun, I'll toss it out and I won't let it fall. I'll catch it before it hits the ground. I bring it back and I'll just stand to show you this. So my fingertips are just kind of around my belly button. I'm going to push like that and circle up on the right, down on the left. So what I'm doing metaphorically and energetically here is planting all this beautiful chi that we've been building back into the body, again, like this kind of recycling and restoring ourselves. Just pause here. Close your eyes for a second. Notice how you're feeling. take a second to shake out any tension that built up in your feet, in your shoulders, or your jaw. Yeah, and we'll just close our practice for today with a simple bow. And then I'll come forward and see if there are questions or burning shares of any kind. And I do want to do something before I take any questions. So one of the things that we've been asked to do with as a Get Set Up guide is just to invite you to try some of the other classes. Some of them are just really great classes that are just not enough people seem to be signing up, or we just want to get more people in those classes so they can keep running. And so I have a whole list here, and I was thinking, which of these would would this group probably like? And there's a woman named Natalie Kosar, I don't know how you pronounce her name, but she's got two classes that I think sound really interesting. One is called 10 Seconds of Mindfulness, and one is called 10 Seconds of Courage. So, we're kind of working also with emotions here. So I thought you might be interested in those. And then there's a class, I don't know if anybody here needs this, but if you want to get better with Zoom or you have some specific questions, there's a really good class just called Zoom Tips and Tricks. And, sometimes people want to know, like, how do I change this setting or things like that. So I just wanted to highlight those classes and invite you if those are of interest. So this was our Get Moving with QiGong today. And I teach QiGong for beginners. I teach that on Monday at this time and Thursday morning. And I teach this class again Thursday at this time. So you're welcome to come back and practice with me here and get the recording if you like. And I also teach a different class called Ageless Grace, which is playful dance to music. I do that Wednesday and Saturday mornings. So I'm up for any questions about any of the forms or anything else anybody wants to ask, and then we'll sign off for today. Let's see if there's anything. You can just unmute yourself to speak, or you can put it in the chat. So any questions or sharings about the practice today? Okay, well, it seems like no one has anything to ask at this moment. So thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your day and keep moving, whatever you do. If you find that QiGong's not your thing, there's so many other great classes on Get Set Up. There's yoga, there's dance, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, Ellen.
Welcome. Take care, everybody.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.